Hey guys, it's Clay from Clear Critique, and today I want to talk about the Oscars. There's this idea that's been kicking around the internet for a few years that says the Muppets should host the Oscars. No, really, in fact, when the Academy asked who should host the ceremony on Twitter earlier this year, they became flooded with demands for the Muppets. The Oscars have kind of done this before, and we're going to get into that in a second, but it got me thinking about the fact that the Oscars are kind of broken, and it's going to take more than just Kermit to put it all together. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why the Oscars suck and how to fix them. And I'm joined by a very special guest, Pentex Productions, one who knows a thing or two about using talking animals to discuss movies. 3 categories. Let's do this. The nomination and voting process for the Oscars right now is, well, it's become apparent that the Academy voters only consider movies sent to them through for-your consideration campaigns, and it's highly likely that they don't even watch some of the ones they nominate. It's like they get a bunch of films to consider, scroll through Twitter to see what people are saying, and just start voting. Or in the case of film editing, use a dartboard. Part of this is the kind of unabashed laziness that comes with having a job that is both elite and easy. Part is also how much major studios bomb the categories during these campaigns. Why do other countries have such limitations on what movies they can submit when Warner Brothers can submit Matrix Resurrections to be considered for, 15 awards? This creates a sea of noise in which foreign, indie, and genre films can't be heard. There needs to be restrictions on how many awards a film can campaign for, and certainly a cap on studios. The Academy needs to ask themselves, are we awarding artistic excellence, or are we celebrating cinema's cultural impact? Art or popularity? Right now the Academy is trying to do both, and they're doing it very badly. Sure, they're nominating smaller, critically celebrated films, but it's like they picked 10 and just ignored the rest. You're telling me Coda, a Hallmark Channel style movie as predictable as Gravity, is among the absolute 10 best movies of the year? And on the other hand, their attempts to bring in more viewers through the nominations have been either baffling or pandering, while still leaving out the ones people actually love the most. If you want the ceremony to represent the cultural zeitgeist, then go all in. If this is going to only be about merit, then open your eyes and ears to horror original scores, to international performances, and slice out the studio gristle on social media. You can't, despite what some dipshits say, nominate art based both on merit and box office gross. It's counterintuitive and dumb. I know this is a lot to ask people from LA, but you have to pick a lane. Once you do, the rest can fall into place. Now I'm going to hand things over to my pal Pentex Productions about how the ceremony should actually be broadcasted. How can they make it easier for people to tune in?
Thanks Clay, and if you haven't seen my videos before and think it's weird to have a cartoon penguin talk to you about movies, well just think, it could be worse. I could be James Corden. Anyway, back to the Oscars. See, the Oscars used to be this massive TV event, at its peak attracting more than 57 million viewers. But it's been on a gradual decline since then, and last year just over 10 million people watched. Now the Academy sees this as a problem, which is why they keep trying increasingly cringeworthy things to bring audiences back. Well, newsflash, TV ratings aren't just declining for the Oscars, they're declining period, because people aren't watching TV on TV anymore, we stream it. So why not make the Oscars a streaming event? Streaming services are in huge bidding wars with each other over the rights to all sorts of IP, so why not add the Oscars into that mix? It's a recognizable brand and gets a huge amount of free publicity both in the lead up to the show and after it. And by selling it to a streaming service, you also make the event accessible to a massive global audience, not just a cable TV one. But making the Oscars more widely available to watch is not enough. It still needs to be something people actually want to watch. It needs to reclaim its status as a huge TV event like the Super Bowl, and that means it needs something unique to the Oscars to bring in the viewers. So taking some lessons from the Super Bowl, why don't they release exclusive trailers and sneak previews during the show? Imagine if, say, every 3 or 4 for awards, you get a new trailer or two for some of the biggest and best movies that are going to be coming out later that year. That way, not only can the Oscars be about celebrating the past year of film, but can also be everyone's first look at what's coming up in the year ahead. This is just one idea, of course, but if the Oscars want to be this huge TV event again, then they need to bring something unique that will make it an event worth tuning in for beyond just the headline awards. And you know what else that big unique thing could be? The headline-grabbing change they so desperately want to revitalize the Oscars brand? That's right, it's the Muppets. Every year ahead of the Oscars, the discussion is dominated not by who should or shouldn't win, but by the question of whether or not there will be a host or who the host will be, and then, when the host is inevitably announced, an even more painful debate about why they are or aren't the right fit. By making the Muppets the host permanently, you take away all of that debate and just instead let the Oscars be about the movies and the artists. People will know what they are going to get and know it won't be controversial.
What is it you guys represent?
I have no idea.
And I mean, the Muppets do have a history of hosting and appearing on other shows, and it's always hilarious.
It looks sort of silly to see all those people running around dressed like, a mouse and a duck.
Louder and funnier.
Yes, sir. Doing my best out here.
You're dying.
Oh, no, listen, it makes perfect sense that they would pick Jason Piggy. I mean, when people go to a Muppet movie, they say, gee, I can't wait to see the human!
People can't apply their own politics or biases to the Muppets, nor is there a risk of any real-world controversy cropping up and overshadowing the event. It's predictable and safe and will give the Oscars a level of consistency and familiarity that can let the brand be rebuilt again over the coming years. And the Oscars would not be the first award show to have a permanent host. The BAFTAs have been hosted by Stephen Fry 12 times since 2001, and the only gap came when Jonathan Ross stepped in for a consecutive 5 years. This also kind of happened when Ricky Gervais consecutively hosted the Golden Globes for 3 years, followed by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler for another 3. People know what they are going to get, and over time, the predictable host instead becomes a face for the show itself, without ever dominating it. But we're starting to get into the territory of the ceremony itself now, so I'm going to hand the mic back to Clay to talk about that.
When brainstorming improvements to the Oscars ceremony itself, I tried to think of the most obvious issue first. This took about 2 seconds to figure out. The Oscars are so fucking long, and there's no excuse when so much time is being wasted. Not just on jokes from the hosts, but banter between presenters so forced they might as well have sniper dots on them. Honoring the dead is respectable, but other montages are dead air. During the 2021 ceremony, I had hoped that COVID would encourage a more stripped-down approach, but it opened with this big, overlong tracking shot like something out of Boogie Nights. There's nothing sadder than flair when no one's watching. The Academy recently caught some flack for announcing that several categories wouldn't be televised, and I find it comical that they think production design and editing aren't worth the time, but let Joaquin Phoenix lecture us about milk. Less is more, and no performer should be given this much room to ramble, especially when the public sees celebrities as elitists. There's a reason the infamous Ricky Gervais rant at the Golden Globes was viewed more times than the actual ceremony.
You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg.
It's just so gimmicky.
Yep, the special visual effect.
Computer-generated effect.
Or as I like to call it, the we don't need actors anymore, we have computers effect.
Cultivate a more casual atmosphere and genuine moments will arrive. Also, make it more interactive for the audience. Throw in quizzes and challenges before commercial breaks. Contests. Trailers for new content like Pentex just discussed. Allow Twitch streamers to host the event and do some form of integration with them. But even with that, the show is still primarily people standing and announcing awards. How does that become entertaining? Well, I think you know where this is going. Boo. Muppets! If you go with a consistent host, I can't think of a better one than Kermit. Someone as dramatic as Miss Piggy should announce acting awards and spar with her boyfriend. People like self-deprecation, they like meta-commentary, so who better than Statler and Waldorf in the balcony dissing the show? Instead of cutting to random celebrities for stiff reaction shots, cut to Beaker. Always cut to Beaker. Bring in eccentric actors to bounce off the Muppets. Could you imagine Nick Cage an animal? You'd barely need a script. I could go on, but the main thing is that the Oscars want to be more universally popular, and Muppets hit that mark perfectly. The producers of this ceremony have dug themselves in a hole, and their solution is to keep changing shovels. What they should do is just take a breath and try something else. After all, what do you have to lose?
What's your name?
My name is Yulary.
What?
Jewelry.
Your name's Eulery?
Yeah, rhymes with jewelry.
Well, I know it rhymes with jewelry. Wow, that's some name. And what's your name?
My name is Patrick.
See, that's a name. All right, all right.
Stop taking this quite so seriously. Just have a good time. If you enjoy something, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's popular or whatever. Like, stop kind of trying to overthink it. Just like, enjoy it, have fun, don't take it too seriously, and everything else will just melt away.
My second idea, if Muppets doesn't happen, hour and a half long to 2 hour ceremony, one person sitting in the chair with a glass of whiskey and just read off the names. And that's it. That's it. Just that. If all that matters is just who wins, then just make it that.
Yeah, there's a middle ground. I don't think that would make very good TV.
No, it wouldn't.
But it's
would
like
be
the people
short.
who really care about it. The people who really care about it would tune in, definitely.
So how would you fix the Oscars? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to thank Pentex Productions for his help with this video. Check out his stuff in the links below, he is awesome. I contributed to a James Bond project he created a while back, so take a look at that playlist as well. Subscribe and click the bell to support the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.